I don't know why there seems to be such a disconnect between the scientific literature that says that people on the autism spectrum are more vulnerable to developing mental health challenges and the people who are trained to provide mental health care. In our region, the clinician to patient ratio is 1 to 202. So for every 202 people who need mental health care, there's one person who is qualified to provide it. And in that number, the people who are trained and willing to provide mental health care to people on the autism spectrum is smaller still, which leaves people like me who are raising children on the autism spectrum in a bind, because I'm one of those weirdos who goes out and reads research papers that say, yeah, your children are going to be at risk for developing mental health challenges throughout childhood and adolescence and into adulthood. So that's something to be aware of. And I go to my doctor's office and say, all right, all the research and all the literature says this is something to be aware of. What do I do about it? And I get blank stares and stuttering. This is not okay. And it's, America in general and various, little subgroups within America, they struggle with how they perceive mental health and how they approach people with mental health. And there's still a significant amount of stigma surrounding that. But I don't care. Mental health is mental health. You treat it the same. If you have an issue that needs to be taken care of, you go get it taken care of. Except because my kids are on the autism spectrum, I can't do that because there aren't enough people who are trained to meet their needs. I don't have access to people who are qualified to meet their needs. And for people like me who are aware and who want to be proactive to make sure that our children and the adults in our lives and people that we care about have access to the care that they need, we're up a creek. There's no one that we can call when we need help. And in a crisis situation, it's even worse. There are limited resources in general for people who are in a mental health crisis. And if you're in a mental health crisis and you also have autism or a related developmental disability, yeah. So I don't get what the disconnect is. I don't understand why those resources are not in place. And I really don't understand why folks are not getting that, hey, this is a need that must be addressed. And when we talk about autism awareness and autism acceptance, we must be aware that people with autism have mental health needs as well. And we need to bring the resources to bear to address those. And no, we can't keep it on the down low, can't be hush-hush about it, can't talk about it, because that's how people suffer when you refuse to talk about it and refuse to address it. And I will not let anyone suffer by being silent about it. So let's talk about this and make sure that we make some noise and have those resources available, not just for people on the autism spectrum, but for everybody else. There's no reason for people to suffer because they do not have adequate mental health resources to address their mental health care needs. What do you think? Should we advocate for having appropriate mental health care resources in place for people with autism and other related developmental disabilities? Or should we just, maintain the status quo where oh, well, that's too bad. We can't help you. I think you know my opinion on that one, but I'd like to hear yours. Please share in the comments. Thank you.